Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Now, I just had to finish dinner and help my son with his homework.
Oh, no, no worries at all. I'm just happy that we could still do it. I know it's been a lot of ups and downs over the last few months, but I'm happy we're finally able to talk and be able to talk about some great music.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, and I hope that everything worked out on your end. And I've had some major changes here in life as well, the past weeks. So there's been a lot of stuff happening.
Oh yeah, and before we start with that again, absolutely, congratulations on a new addition to the family.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem at all. And yeah, I can just imagine how busy everything's getting with that. I mean, when you got a new album to be able to promote, and when your family's getting bigger, and just life in general. I mean, a lot of things can happen, but it's great to see that everything seems to be on a good upswing right now, and getting towards the end of the year. And again, just being able to talk to you after all this time, and being able to talk about a brand new album.
Yeah, that's going to be great, man.
Oh, totally. And just like I've been alluding to you when we've been going back and forth, I absolutely love this album. It is easily one of my favorite albums of the year. I think the band has improved so much, and I didn't think the band was even capable of improving more than what you guys started off with. And now just seeing where you guys are at now and everything that's going in there, from the variety that's going in there, the in depth of the concepts that you're going into, just musically, songwriting, production wise, just like everything's on a new level. And I just love seeing where the band is at right now.
Thank you so much, man. It's so awesome to hear that, because we've been stuck in our own bubble, for the last 4 years where we have been working on it. And, we've been feeling like, yeah, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. It's going to be worth it. And in the end, I think that it turned out even better than from what I dared to hope to in the beginning. Just the thing like that we were able to record the strings in the studio where we've been mixing and recording the rock instrument did such a huge difference when it comes to the sound and like the general feeling of the whole album. So I couldn't be happier with how everything turned out.
And I'm so happy to hear that too, because when I listen to the album, it's just I can hear how much innovation's really going on within the band. I mean, whenever I try to dissect something that's going on, I mean, whether it's you're playing, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's the overall presentation, whether it's the concept, I mean, everything feels like it's meant to be there. And there's no fluff, there's no added stuff that doesn't need to be there. I mean, it feels like the full concept of what this album was meant to be is recorded to perfection here. And I just love being able to go back and dissect things more and more, because it really adds to that replay value. I mean, let alone the songs being great, but when you add so much more on top of it, like an intriguing story and just seeing how everything connects into each other, it just makes for an even better time in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we've spent so much time on putting stuff on each songs, so we ended up with using like over 450 channels with all like the effects and the guitar channels and the string channels and the choir channels. So there's a shit ton of stuff recorded for this album, but just like you said, we haven't put on stuff for the sake of overproducing, because everything has a purpose. Even every door sound effects that we've used, everything is there to kind of draw you into the Zornheim universe more, by adding all these little stuff to the soundscape of the whole album.
Yeah, and it really does work. And the more that you do pay attention to that, especially with repeated listens, I mean, it's so much for the benefit of everything that's going on there. So when you do have those doors open, when you do hear the little conversations that's going on, I mean, all the little twists and turns that are going on musically and conceptually, it just has that instant replay value that you just want to keep going back and discovering more with it. And I just love that you guys spent so much time being able to make this the best that you possibly could be, because the end result to me is just perfection.
Oh, thank you very much, man. I mean, I think that it's a cool album to put on your CD player or your turntable or whatever you're listening to, and just crank it up, and then feel like the whole presence of the whole soundscape pretty much attacking you, because that sounds very epic. But if you want to sit down and really go through and follow the storyline and follow the lyrics and everything like that, I would suggest that then it's a cool album to listen to with headphones, because there's so many details that you might miss when you're listening to it through speakers or Bluetooth speaker or whatever you're listening to, because just like you're saying, there's just so many details baked into this album.
And it's so great too, because it does give you those different experiences too. I mean, when you do put on headphones or earphones and you just close your eyes and you listen to it, I mean, it feels like you're in the story as well too, because you can hear everything that's going on around you. And when you have the story aspect starting to hit more into it, or you're hearing musical layers that you might not hear when you're using traditional speakers, I mean, there's just so much into it. And when you have a concept like this too, it really works great on that psychological level as well too, when you feel like you're in the story.
Yeah, and that's like the tricky part with this kind of music, that we have them. Well, I have composed the songs, so they are good songs. If you just are in for finding like a good track to listen to and get a cool feeling for. But I've also tried to make the song work in the dramatic story, that you have in the beginning, and then slows down a little bit, and then the climax comes, and we're going out with all guns blazing in the end, basically. And to get that like perfect balance between like a normal good song and then also make it a part of a concept, it's pretty tricky. But I actually think that we did pretty well with that on this album. It feels like it's all a part of something bigger, but I think all the songs works as standalone songs as well. It's like Sverker Widgren, the producer, said that you guys have basically done an album that consists of singles.
Yeah, it's funny how that works too, because usually when it comes to concept albums, I mean, especially when you got to release a single or two, I mean, obviously to be able to promote the album, I mean, that can always be a challenge, because you want people to be able to listen to it from start to finish to get that full concept going on. But when you did release singles and you got to hear them before you got to hear the full story, I mean, they are so intriguing in and of themselves when you just think about what's going on conceptually, let alone the music that's going on there, that is just so awesome to hear. I mean, when you guys picked out the singles for this album, I mean, I really feel like they were great choices to be able to promote the album.
I mean, Keep the Devil Away, that was a pretty easy single to pick. Everyone was voting for that one. Everyone in the band and our promo team and the label, we all agreed on it. And then when it came to the second single, the label and our promotion people wanted to use Slumber Comes in Time. And in the beginning, I was a little bit concerned about it, because it was, something really new. And then our booker persuaded me and said that, this is the second single. You have already given the fans a a pretty, you know, a straight going song. So now you can gamble a little bit, and that kind of made me do that, you know, gamble and going for slumber, because, you know, we took an old folk melody that we used in the chorus, and the chorus was just sung by a male choir, which was something almost something like a folk metal band would do, or something like that. I think that it turned out very cool, and it makes a lot of sense for both the story and the song. So in the end, you know, I'm very happy with the single choices as well, because it seems like a lot of people are rooting for that one as their favorite song of the album. So I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, and I can totally see why too. And, you know, I can see that from all angles, but I will say absolutely in favor of that is I like being able to see the band stretch and just seeing like how far their wingspan is going to go. And when the full album is going on, you know, it's just like being able to maintain that core sound of what the band is all about, but being able to see what they can incorporate with it, and, you know, making sure that they are making the music that they want to make. And if it was just a song that was going to be just a part of the album, it would have been a fantastic song. But the fact that you did show that off as the second single, and you were just like willing to show the diversity that's really going into this album, is just a great thing.
Yeah, and I also think that we did a really cool lyrics video that showcased the upcoming graphic novel that we're gonna release later next year. And I also think that Aim and Frame did a wonderful job with putting everything together. And the art work in the lyrics video is done by art by Art Ring Sara. And I mean, she is amazing, and it felt really cool to be able to take in parts from the actual booklet as well inside that lyric videos. So we're kind of, you know, building the whole world with the graphic novel and the booklet in that video, and kind of showcase what to expect from that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I was going to bring that up later, but it's great to be able to talk about that now, where you know, as much as I love everything that's going on musically within the band and conceptually with what's going in the band, I love the fact that ever since the beginning that you guys care so much about what's going on visually as well, too. I mean, whether you are putting together a graphic novel or a comic or the videos or the lyric videos, I mean, you want everything to be as visually appealing as it is musically appealing as well, too.
Yes.
And I think there's so many bands that don't really focus on that visual aspect, especially when they do kind of have the opportunities to be able to focus on visual things and capture a new audience, where you guys do that. And it just makes everything so much better in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, Jens Rudén, who took the band pictures, he also made the layout for both the CD and the vinyl. And I mean, he put in so many hours, and he constructed, you know, all these old documents that he was taking pictures of, and he bought, you know, like big props that he used for the photo sessions. So he actually managed to recreate the eye, the big circular window that Dr. Bettelheim and Dr. Gutzman are watching the subjects through in the observatory, and he actually managed to recreate that for the backside of the vinyl and the CD. So there's like so many hours of details done, and there's even like pictures of the different inmates that are participating in the sleep experiment inside the booklet. And you know, you get to follow everything through the doctor's own sessions notes, and there's small notes and scribbles on the side of the actual typewritten notations and stuff like that. So there's many hours invested in the whole presentation of the vinyl and the CD, and like all graphic content that goes into this band. So I mean, as much as we invest in the music, we try and invest with presenting everything graphically as well.
And just like I said, I find that so important as well too. I mean, especially when you have the concepts and everything that's going on within this band. I mean, like with the last album, and just like knowing how much detail went into that too, just like looking at all these different inmates in this asylum, and now being able to take a lot of those ideas and being able to put it into the sleep experiment that's going on, and being able to really visualize like all the nightmares and hell that's going on within the story, and just being able to show that in the album presentation, being able to show that on the vinyl or the CD, and the upcoming graphic novel that's going to be going with that, or the videos that's going on with that. I mean, it's very small details, and some people might not care about that, but those that do care about that could not appreciate that more, and I'm one of those people.
Yeah, and I mean, we love to put in, small Easter eggs that serve basically as a bridge between the albums. So basically, the front cover of the first album is Dr. Beetleheim going towards the chamber where they are going to conduct a sleep experiment, and he's bringing the last subject, the inmate from the song Hestia, with him. And basically, the outro for the first album serve as an intro for the second album, because the last acoustic piece that we end on the song on Where Hatred Dwells and Darkness Reigns, on the song Hestia, that's actually the first riff that Corpus Vile starts with. So everything is like connected. So the first album ends on the same riff that as the second album starts with.
That's right. And I was actually going to ask about that as well too. And it's so great to see that as well, because it's just like it really adds to everything that's going on conceptually, and really building up this whole universe that's going on, and really being able to flesh out the whole concept of the band and every album that's going on, and I imagine every release going on in the future as well too. I mean, when you can add those little Easter eggs to it and really see how the story continues and continues. I mean, it's just like when you pay attention to a graphic novel series, or a horror series, or whatever the case is, when you can pay attention to those little aspects and being able to see that in the future, the payoff is so rewarding.
Yeah, and I mean, we are fans of series and stuff like that when people do that. So of course, that's something that we want to do ourselves when we create our own art, and to be able to give the listener that's really paying close attention that satisfaction of finding, they did that, they actually took that idea from that album and unraveled the whole answer to it on this album and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. And again, along with that as well too, I mean, obviously people like myself being able to appreciate all those things, but all of the new people as well too that are just discovering the band from this album, and then realizing that there's previous material that they're able to go back and listen to. I've been so happy to see like all the critical reception that's been going on with this album, whether it's reviewers, whether it's random people online, where it's like I rarely see anything negative about this. It's always been positive work that's been being shown off with this album, and I'm just so happy to see so many more people that are getting into the band, because you guys deserve it.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, we put in so much of our own passion and lifetime in this band, so we are blown away by the reception that we've gotten so far. A lot of people have been saying that that they think that it's one of their favorite albums released this year, and just having someone say that, especially this year, when people have been releasing quite a few albums, post COVID and stuff like that. It's really cool to hear that. So we couldn't be happier with that.
And I'm so glad to hear that too. And it's like like I said, I'm very much one of those people, and like I've been hinting at with you as well too. Coming up on Friday, I'm going to be releasing my top 20 of the year out of 140 that I've been reviewing, and you guys are very near the top, if not the top. I don't want to give away exactly where it is, but it's just like it is one of my favorite albums of the year. And the more that I listen to it, the more that I appreciate it. I love it. I love everything that's going on with it, and I'm just so excited to see everything that's going to be coming in the future. I mean, whether it's close, whether it's far away, I know that anticipation for whatever is going to be coming next is just going to be great because I'm so locked into the story of what you're trying to tell.
Yeah, I'm actually working on the story and some songs now for the next album, because this album I basically started writing when we were done with the first album. So I know that it takes us a lot of time to finish stuff, but I think that with the Zornheim sleep experiment, we kind of set the foundation on how to do things pretty smart and efficient. So I hope that we are going to be able to cut some corners and not have to wait another 4 years for us to release the third album.
And at least from my side, I mean, the fact that you did take the time to really make this the best that it could be, and obviously finding out what works and what doesn't work when it comes into the other aspects of the band, and being able to cut those corners are such a great thing. But the fact that you don't rush it, the fact that you really want the songs to be the best that they can be, and just doing everything you can to make the songs the best that they can be, it's worth the wait. I mean, obviously as a fan, I want to be able to see where the story goes now, because I mean, it's just like I'm so anticipating with where everything is going. But obviously with the writing stage and everything that's going on, like whatever the wait is going to be, it's going to be a wait, I know, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah, that it's going to be worth it. That I know already, because the songs that I've written so far are absolutely bangers, and I can't wait to record these songs. and we have rarely played any of the new songs live yet. I think we have played Dead Silence like 2 times on a tour we did post COVID, and then we've played pre-COVID, I mean, and then we played Keep the Devil Away on 2 shows that we did during the pandemic. We played 2 times in Denmark, 1 time this year and 1 time the year before that.
And speaking of that as well, I mean, obviously with unexpected free time from being able to play shows and going out on tour, I mean, what was that like, being able to go back and play on stage, even if it is just like 1 time a year? What was that like for you?
That felt very good. I mean, what COVID actually did for us as a band, of course, everything that's happened has been extremely bad for everyone that's has lost someone, or but it didn't really hurt us much as a band. We were actually given more time to finalize the string parts, because since when you're in a studio, you're usually in separate rooms, so there wasn't any infections going on there, so we had like 1 tour canceled, and then we used that time to finalize the string recordings. And then when we actually played in 2020, when we played at Raise Your Horns in Bornholm, that was really cool to actually come back and do a show, because it was a festival show, and it was a pretty good turnout. People had to sit down, of course, and they couldn't sing, but they started like chair moshing, jumping up and down on their chairs, which was kind of hilarious. I think there's even a clip on our Facebook when people are doing that. But the only bad thing with going back playing live was that it was only one show. Usually the first show is when you're getting your kinks out and everything like that, and then the second and the third, and then on the fourth show, then you're really nailing it. So it felt it felt wonderful, but too short.
Yeah, and I definitely know that when I was playing shows as well too. I mean that first show, it's just like, especially when you haven't played in a bit, you really do want to get all those kinks out. I mean, whether they're expected or unexpected. I mean, it usually comes out in the first show, but the more that you get to play, whether you're doing just weekends, whether you're touring, whether you're doing the festival shows, whatever the case is, the more that you start playing, the more those kinks go away, and you really start to become into your own as a live band again. I mean, it happens to everybody, but going back to what you were saying about the album as well too. I mean, the fact that you got to focus more on the strings for this album, I'm so happy to hear that was the case as well too. I mean, there's so much negative that has been going on with almost the past couple of years now, coming up on a couple of years now, and the fact that you were able to take that the negatives that were going on and make such a great positive out of it when it comes to the album is so great, because the strings on this album are so integral to this album, and they tell so much emotion that's going on within every song. I mean, you take something like Dead Silence and you hear those strings. I mean, it adds an emotion that would not be there if you did not have the time to be able to focus on the strings.
Yeah, and I mean, the girls that played the violin and the viola, one of them has played together with Dimmu Borgir, and the other one has played together with the Swedish Philharmonica. So those girls, they were so professional. We asked them on beforehand, like, do you wish to have the notation if a few days before you're coming to the studio, just to be able to check it out, or no? And then we gave them the notation, and they nailed it, like they've been playing that shit their whole life. They were even better than us performing the songs because they were so professional.
Oh, and that's great when you do find those right people to be able to help with the album. I mean, whether it's guest musicians, whether it's people behind the board, whether it's the label or people doing promo, whatever the case is. I mean, when you can find the right people that want to work towards the same vision that you're looking for, especially when it comes to a concept in a band like this, when you can find everyone that wants to move towards the same direction as you do. I mean, I can't imagine there's a greater feeling than that.
Oh, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic, and I think that we have a great team assembled together around Zornheim. Like I mentioned earlier, with the Sverker Vidrian of Wing Studios, he did like a super incredible job with co-producing the whole album with me, and then of course setting the sounds and mixing and squeezing all the 450 channels, cramping them up to fit on a piece of plastic, and make it sound this big and epic. That's to me, that's quite an achievement.
Oh, it truly is, and it really says a lot about how far technology has really come along the way. I mean, if you had to record that to tape rather than having all of that, I can just imagine how much more work that would be.
Yeah, and just mixing this album, what was a pain in the ass to do with today's technology. But imagine if you have to live mix down it on a board. You would have to be like 40 people standing and controlling all the levels and doing all the tricks.
Oh, it's so true. And again, I can't say it enough. The final result, the end product here is just simply incredible. And every time that I go back and listen to the album, it makes me so happy to listen to it too, because as much as I do love listening to albums that do just feel like a collection of songs, I am so much of a conceptual person when it comes to listening to music, and I love listening to an album from start to finish. And when everything connects together, it just makes me so happy, because it feels like I'm listening to a tale, or I'm listening to a book, or visualizing a movie in my head, whatever the case is. I mean, and when you have that reason to keep going back and listening to the album from start to finish, to me, that just makes me so happy. And between both albums that are going on here, and I can just imagine all the ideas that are going in your head for the future as well too, and just knowing everything's going to be interconnecting together. And I imagine that the live shows, when they eventually get back into full gear and you're able to have the great visualizations that's going along with that as well too, and just seeing everything that's going on, I'm just so happy to see where you guys are at right now, being able to put out one of my favorite albums of 2021, and hopefully shows getting back to normal for 2022 and everything going forward. I just love seeing where you guys are at right now.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it. It's going to be awesome to take these songs out and play them live. And another thing that I was thinking about was that was actually another thing that we did on purpose with this album. That some of the intros to some of the different songs we actually put on separate tracks. So you, in case you are one of those people that are just here for that one banger, you're supposed to be able to just take that song out and put it on your own playlist on Spotify or whatever whatever media you're playing your songs on, and be able to enjoy it, because I think that it's important to be able to satisfy both people that are just looking for individual good songs and people like you and me that do enjoy a whole album back to finish, and especially when there's a red thread and a story connecting all the songs.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it really shows the detail that really goes into the band too. I mean, whether it's musically, whether it's visually, whether it's just separating intros and outros and interludes to be able to either have that album feel, or just separating the songs. I mean, there's so much detail that goes into this band that I wish other bands would put that much detail into it as well too, because you guys are doing everything the right way, in my opinion. And it's so great to see that.
Yeah, we do think a lot.
Oh yeah, and again, I think that's what makes it pay off, because you're doing something for everyone that is interested in what you're doing as well too. Because
Yeah.
again, if it's just for the music, I mean, you, like you said, you got the songs separated out, so you just get the songs. If you want the full concept, you have that as well. If you want more than just audibly the concept, you're putting out graphic novels, and it's
Yeah.
so great.
And that's something that we really want to expand on as well. But like with everything else, it's a matter of time and money. But we would like to present our concept in more for different formats, like maybe a card game or a board game, or maybe a short story or something like that. But all of these adventures with like graphic novels or music videos, they do take a lot of time, but we have ideas for stuff like that, but we haven't figured out how to realize them yet. But like we have ideas on how to make a cool board game, but and we do know people who can help us with it, but we would need time to sit down and figure out on how to realize that and get some economy for it.
Oh, I would buy that immediately the second that it went on sale. If that comes to fruition, I'd be a first day buyer of that. Oh, that is just so cool. And again, it's I keep saying it, but I love the fact that there's so many ideas floating around of what you can do to expand the band. But whether everything keeps going in the right direction, whether anything else happens, I mean, the fact that the focal point of the band with the music is just so powerful, and it tells such a great great story in and of itself is just so important. And I just love that so much detail that's been going into this music over the last 4 years and everything that's going to be going on in the future with the next release. I'm just so excited as a fan, and just being able to see everything that's been going on with you as well too. I mean, the fact that you reached out to me after you heard me interview Dan Swano and wanted me to be able to promote your band, and I've just loved it from the second that I've heard it, and the fact that I'm still able to promote it after all of these years. I'm just so happy to be able to help in any small way that I can, to be able to get the name out there for the band and for you as well. And it makes me every time so happy to see when there is a new video, when there's announcements of a graphic novel, whether there's announcements of new music. I mean, just knowing that this entity of Zornheim is continuing to grow and grow, I'm just so happy to see it.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, we really appreciate all the help that we've been getting so far from everyone who have, you know, written even a column or just a review and showed it to their buddies, or just recommended the album. You know, everyone who's helping us, we are so appreciated to that. And it was awesome that you and I could reconnect and do this interview again, and everything like that. It's the power of the people shouldn't be looked over, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And the connections that can be made from it, just from music alone. I mean, the fact that we still keep in touch after that initial reaching out and doing the first interview, and just like checking in on each other, and, you know, seeing our lives, like the ups and downs of life going on, and just knowing that we actually care about each other, and just like wanting to see each other grow with what we do. I mean, obviously with me doing interviews and being able to promote bands and doing reviews, and of course yourself seeing Zornheim being able to grow and grow as much as it has, and I can only see that rising more and more as time goes on. I'm just so happy to see it, and, you know, just the way everything came together to today, just being able to talk to you like this, talk about such an amazing band and such an amazing album as the Zornheim Sleep Experiments, which of course is available now for everyone listening to be able to go and check out. I'm just so happy to see where everything is, and just knowing this is one of my favorite albums of 2021, and just hearing how excited you are about the band and just everything that's going on in the future. And I thank you again for, you know, initially reaching out to me the first time, and continuing to reach out after all this time, and now being able to do this interview. It's just been a great time.
Yeah, and thank you for taking the time to do all this and help us promoting it.
Oh, I'm glad to do it, and I just love being able to promote good music. And, you know, good music comes from anywhere, and just knowing that there's a band like this that truly does care about the concepts that are going on, and just like everything that you can take away from the concepts musically, what's going on, and again, everything that's going to be happening in the future as well too. I'm glad to be on board as a fan and as a friend, and being able to help out in any way I can. I'm just so happy to see things turned out this way, to be able to be in this position. And yeah, again, just I thank you so very much for all of it.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. And like I said, thank you too. And I think that's something that we try and do different. I know that a lot of people seem to have started releasing graphic novels lately, but what we try and do and differentiate, and what differentiates us from a lot of the stuff that I've seen so far, is that we try and keep everything inside our universe, and our universe is made in such a way so it suits to present it in different art forms as well, such as graphic novels or a short story, or the concept would work on a board game, or even, you know, people that I've been doing interviews with have been asking me, so when are you going to release the Zornheim TV series? Because they think that the whole concept would work perfectly as a TV series. So is HBO or is Netflix going to do it, or you know, stuff like that. And that's something that I have been very picky with from the start. to the whole concept and everything. If we're going to do it in another format or in another media, then it's going to be about the concept. We are not going to be in there posing as Kiss figures or, being superheroes that are telling insane people to eat their vitamins or anything like that.
Oh yeah, and that's such another thing too. I mean, unless you keep it very independent. I mean, when the idea of like being able to make it like a limited series or a full-on TV show or a concept of movies or anything. I mean, when you get more people with higher authority a part of it, they might want to change things that you might not agree with. And I think with a story like this, you really want to keep the concept of what's going on here to be as strong as possible and not lose sight of that. So, I mean, if that was ever to be a reality where that could be like that, and I would really feel like you guys would really need to be executive producers on that to make sure that the vision of what this band and what this concept and what this universe is about really stays intact.
Yeah. They wouldn't get to release anything without without my stamp of approval.
And that is absolutely the way it should be. And until that time comes, again, just the fact that graphic novels are coming out, a board game might happen at some point, or even just the music videos and the lyric videos and just the music in general is still just being as top notch as it is. It makes me so happy, and anything more than that is just is such a rewarding bonus.
Yeah, and the whole booklet is like filled with pretty much the whole storyline for the Zornheim sleep experiment. The whole album booklet starts with Dr. Beetleheim's statement of intent, where he pretty much explains his purpose with conducting the sleep experiment and how he's going to go about it. And there's even like a small map of the whole facilities where he's conducting the sleep experiment, and he's telling the whole story about adrenochrome, the gas that's making the inmates stay awake, and the whole story about how Dr. Gutzman made the adrenochrome and why he has picked the 9 subjects to participate in the sleep experiment, and what he's trying to achieve with it. And then you get to follow after each song there's different session notes that are either written by Dr. Beetleheim or Dr. Gutzman, where they are informing basically how the sleep experiment is proceeding. And it doesn't go the way that they had planned it. And there's a lot of drama happening.
That's just got me so excited to be able to check that out and read that, because again, it's just like, it's so intriguing. It's so much up my alley. And again, when I listen to the music and the lyrics and everything that goes on behind it, I'm just so happy to see that something like this is possible where you can release this as a graphic novel. And yeah, I keep saying it, but I think it bears repeating. I'm just so happy to see where the band is right now and everything that's going on with it, the rise of popularity that's going on, the fact that you're able to do all these different things and everything that's coming out in the future. Just I'm just so happy to see it.
Awesome, man.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, I thank you again for being able to take the time to be able to do this. I know your life has just got increasingly more busy with what's going on, so I appreciate you being able to take even this much time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on right now, in the past, what could be coming up in the future. All of it. It's always a great time being able to talk to you, whether it's online or being able to go back and forth like this. This is my last interview of the year, so I couldn't think of a better interview to be able to end things on and for the year. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I can't promote this album enough. I can't sing enough high praises for it. I just love everything that you guys have done to be able to make this album a reality. And I just thank you again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
No problem. The pleasure was on my side, man.